Olive oil is sold as one of the healthiest fats in the world, rich in antioxidants and heart-protective compounds. Fresh, extra virgin olive oil should taste grassy, bitter and peppery. But most olive oil sold in the UK no longer fits that picture. Today we're exposing 6 olive oil brands sold across the UK, from cheap supermarket bottles to expensive premium labels, that legally qualify as extra virgin while often failing to deliver freshness, flavour or real nutritional value. Filippo Berio extra virgin olive oil is one of the most widely distributed olive oils in the United Kingdom. It is sold through major supermarket chains including Tesco, Sainsbury's, Asda, Morrisons and Waitrose, and is marketed as extra virgin, a legally protected grade under European and international olive oil standards. To understand what this designation truly means, it's necessary to examine how extra virgin olive oil is defined, produced, tested, transported and regulated, and where large-scale brands like Filippo Berio operate within that system. Under EU and International Olive Council regulations, extra virgin olive oil must be obtained solely by mechanical means, without chemical refining, must have free acidity below 0.8%, and must pass both chemical analysis and sensory evaluation. Sensory evaluation is conducted by trained tasting panels that assess whether the oil contains any defects such as rancidity, mustiness, or fermentation. Failure in either chemical or sensory assessment disqualifies an oil from being labelled extra virgin. Filippo Berio does not operate a single estate or single mill production model. Instead, its olive oil is produced through large-scale sourcing across multiple Mediterranean countries, with oils blended to meet a consistent profile before bottling. This model is common among global olive oil brands and allows for year-round availability and price stability in retail markets like the UK. Blending itself is not illegal. However, it introduces several technical challenges. Olive oil quality is highly sensitive to harvest timing, storage conditions, oxygen exposure, temperature, and transport duration. Oils sourced from different regions may be harvested months apart, stored in bulk tanks, and transported long distances before final blending and bottling. Each stage increases the risk of oxidation and phenolic degradation, which affects freshness and nutritional value. Unlike high polyphenol or estate-bottled olive oils, Filippo Berio bottles sold in the UK do not list a harvest date, specific grove location, or olive cultivar. Instead, they typically state, produced using olive oils from the Mediterranean, or EU non-EU blend, which complies with labelling law, but provides limited traceability. Without harvest dates, consumers cannot determine how long the oil may have been stored prior to purchase. Chemical testing alone cannot fully assess olive oil quality. Oils may pass acidity thresholds while still lacking freshness or phenolic complexity. Olive oil continues to degrade after bottling, especially when exposed to light, heat, or prolonged shelf storage, all common conditions in retail environments. The core question for consumers is not whether Filippo Berio is legally olive oil, but whether it delivers the freshness, phenolic density, and traceability often associated with the health claims people attach to extra virgin olive oil. Next we have Bertolli extra virgin olive oil is one of the most recognisable names on UK supermarket shelves, stocked across Tesco, Sainsbury's and wholesale distributors. While its branding evokes Italian culinary tradition, the modern Bertolli operation functions as a multinational industrial supply chain, not a regional producer. The investigation begins with ownership and scale. Bertolli is produced under a global food corporation structure that prioritizes continuous availability, uniform taste, and cost efficiency across multiple markets. These priorities directly shape sourcing decisions, processing methods, and the characteristics of the final product. Bertolli extra virgin olive oil is made through large-scale aggregation of oils from several Mediterranean countries. Rather than relying on a single harvest or region, oils are blended to achieve a consistent sensory profile. This approach stabilizes flavor across seasons but removes regional specificity and freshness indicators. Extra virgin classification is based on regulatory thresholds, not harvest timing. As long as chemical parameters fall within legal limits and the oil passes a sensory panel at the time of testing, it qualifies. These assessments are discrete snapshots, not continuous checks throughout the oil's shelf life. Bottles sold in the UK do not disclose pressing dates, harvest seasons, olive varieties, or polyphenol content. Labels typically reference broad sourcing, such as EU/non-EU olive oils. While compliant with regulations, this prevents consumers from assessing freshness or nutrient density. Bertolli oils are formulated for general cooking rather than raw consumption. To maintain heat tolerance and shelf stability, producers often rely on later season olives, which yield more oil but contain fewer polyphenols than early harvest fruit. Bertolli does not publish independent batch-level data or oxidation metrics at bottling. Without this transparency, it is impossible to determine how close any bottle is to the lower boundary of extra virgin classification when purchased. At number 3, we examine one of the most expensive and widely recognized olive oil brands in UK supermarkets. Napolina extra virgin olive oil is often priced higher than many own-label alternatives, and its branding suggests Italian heritage, quality, and tradition. But price alone does not determine freshness, nutritional value, or production standards. Napolina operates within a large-scale commercial supply model. Rather than producing olive oil from a single estate or harvest, the brand sources oils from multiple Mediterranean regions, combining them to ensure consistent supply throughout the year. This approach supports availability and price control, but it also means the oil is not tied to a specific harvest, grove, or pressing date. Napolina oils are stored in bulk tanks before blending and bottling, a standard practice in high-volume operations. Even under controlled conditions, prolonged storage leads to a gradual loss of volatile aroma compounds and polyphenols, the substances responsible for both flavor intensity and many health-associated properties. The bottles sold in the UK do not disclose harvest year, pressing date, olive variety, or polyphenol concentration. Labels typically reference broad origin categories such as EU olive oils, which meets legal requirements but prevents consumers from evaluating how old the oil may be at the point of purchase. Despite the higher price point, Napolina olive oil is designed primarily for consistency and cooking performance, not for maximum freshness or raw consumption. Later harvest olives are often favored in these systems because they produce higher yields and oils that remain stable for longer periods, though with lower antioxidant density. Tesco extra virgin olive oil is sold under the retailer's own branding across hundreds of UK stores. Unlike producer-led brands, Tesco functions as a specifier rather than a manufacturer, meaning the company defines price, volume, and compliance requirements while contracting external producers to supply the oil. The olive oil is sourced through rotating supplier agreements, often involving multiple Mediterranean countries within a single year. This allows Tesco to maintain stable pricing despite harvest variability. Oils are aggregated, stored in bulk facilities, and blended to meet predefined sensory and chemical criteria before packaging. Label declarations usually indicate EU olive oils or EU/non-EU blend, which satisfies UK food labelling law but does not reveal harvest timing, olive variety, or mill location. Without harvest data, the time elapsed between pressing and purchase cannot be determined. Private label oils are designed for extended shelf performance. This influences olive selection, favoring later season fruit that delivers higher yields and slower oxidative behavior. These oils maintain regulatory stability, but naturally contain lower concentrations of volatile phenolic compounds. Tesco's olive oil undergoes required compliance testing prior to release. However, there is no public disclosure of peroxide values at bottling, polyphenol concentration, or sensory panel scores. As a result, quality assessment beyond legal minimums is not externally verifiable. The product meets extra virgin classification under current standards. The investigation shows that Tesco's olive oil is structured around logistical efficiency and cost predictability, rather than harvest freshness or biochemical optimization. Number 5. Aldi's specially selected extra virgin olive oil operates within a high-efficiency retail model where limited product lines and rapid stock turnover define sourcing decisions. Aldi does not maintain permanent supplier identity for olive oil. Instead, contracts are awarded based on seasonal capacity and cost-performance alignment. Oils are procured from multiple Mediterranean producers, combined into batches designed to meet Aldi's predefined specification for acidity, stability, and taste neutrality. Blending enables consistency across stores but reduces regional traceability, Packaging generally references broad origin categories without harvest or pressing dates. This information gap means oxidation progression prior to bottling cannot be independently assessed. To ensure resilience across transport and shelf exposure, oils are typically filtered and stabilized. These steps enhance clarity and shelf endurance while reducing suspended solids that could accelerate spoilage. The trade-off is a reduction in aromatic intensity and antioxidant diversity. Aldi's olive oil complies with extra virgin regulations at the point of testing. However, the absence of batch-level transparency places the oil within the lower disclosure tier of the extra virgin category, where regulatory compliance substitutes for qualitative differentiation. Number 6. Morrison's extra virgin olive oil. Morrison's extra virgin olive oil is supplied through a hybrid retail model that combines direct sourcing with private label manufacturing partnerships. While Morrison's operates more vertically than some competitors, olive oil production remains outsourced to Mediterranean suppliers. The oil is created from multi-origin sourcing, with batches blended to achieve uniform sensory outcomes across regions and seasons. Storage occurs in large volume tanks prior to packaging, extending the time between extraction and consumer access. Labels typically indicate regional sourcing zones rather than precise agricultural data. Without olive variety identification or harvest markers, the oil's age and phenolic profile remain undefined at retail level. Morrison's prioritizes price stability and year-round availability, which influences olive selection and processing parameters. Oils selected for this channel emphasize oxidative resistance and neutral flavor rather than early harvest characteristics. Mandatory compliance testing is conducted to ensure extra virgin classification. However, Morrison's does not publish oxidative or antioxidant metrics for individual batches, limiting objective evaluation beyond baseline standards. This analysis positions Morrison's extra virgin olive oil as a retail-optimized product shaped by supply chain efficiency rather than agronomic specificity.